Hey guys, welcome back to your only English literature. Today I'm going to discuss race studies in English literature. So let's start. In race studies, race is a generally understood as a socially constructed category used to classify humans based on perceived physical and biological characteristics such as skin color, facial features, and hair texture. Race studies explore how the concept of race has been used to create and justify social hierarchies, inequalities, and system of oppression. Over time, race studies have expanded to analyze how racial identities are formed, maintained, and challenged, and how ideas about race continue to evolve. The goal is often to better understand and address the effects of racialization and to challenge structures that perpetuate racial injustice. The theory of race studies was developed in the mid 1980s, which critically includes studies of race in literature and culture, ethnicity studies, studies minority literatures, and specific traditions in literature and philosophy of Afro-American theories. Race studies emerged from civil rights. What is civil rights? Civil rights are the rights that protect individuals' freedom and ensure equal treatment under the law. They include protections against discrimination based on race, gender, religion, and more. Civil rights also cover the right to vote, access to public services, and fair employment opportunities. These rights aim to guarantee equality and justice in society and shifts the focus on W. E. B. Du works. Some of his works are The Souls of Black Folk, 1903, Black Reconstruction in America, 1935, The Philadelphia Negro, 1899, The Concept of the Color Line, The Pan-African Movement, etc. So first, we are going to talk about his most important work for this race studies is The Souls of Black Folk. In this work, Dubé introduces double consciousness, describing how Black Americans have to view themselves through both their own perspective and the demeaning gaze of white society. He describes the veil, a metaphor for the racial divide that separates Black and white Americans. He focused on how blacks felt they were biologically insecure. There is no logic behind this belief. Assuming inferior because of the color is a social constructivist view of race, where race as a category was never differentiated. Race groups must not see each other as individuals but as a community. He questioned about the segregation of races, for it was preventing a proper joint community and instead implant hate for each other. Next work of Dubé is The Philadelphia Negro. The study investigates the social, economic, and living conditions of black residents in Philadelphia's 7th Ward, aiming to uncover the realities of black life and counteract negative stereotypes. Dubé found the essential features of the black personality, arguing criminal behavior among black people was a symptom of exclusion and marginalization within a society that denied them the same rights, resources, and protections afforded to white citizens. By linking criminality to social conditions, he challenged the stereotypes that labeled black people as inherently prone to crime, arguing instead that addressing structural inequalities would reduce crime rates and uplift the community. His perspective emphasized that crime was a societal issue requiring structural reform, not individual blame. His major discourse on double consciousness argued that black could never see himself as himself. He cannot see the true self of him, but perceives himself as the white man sees him. The black man is like a coin who looks at himself from two sides, one as a black man, another as an American or a white man. The concept of the color line. Deuba saw the color line as both a literal and figurative boundary. It represents segregation and discrimination, as well as the psychological and cultural division that prevents mutual understanding and respect. He argued that this line was reinforced by systematic racism in areas like employment, education, housing, and the legal system. Additionally, the color line had global significance, impacting colonial subjects around the world who faced racial oppression under European and American imperialism. Deuba called for the dismantling of the color line through activism, social reform, and challenging racist ideologies. His concept remains influential, highlighting how deeply embedded racial divisions shape identity, opportunity, and justice. The last but not the least work of Deuba we are going to discuss today is the Pan African Movement. The movement's objectives have evolved over time but have consistently focused on solidarity among African and diaspora communities, resistance against oppression, and the reclamation of African culture, identity, and sovereignty. Pan Africanism was instrumental in the push for African nations' independence in the mid 20th century and continues to influence contemporary movements for racial equality, economic justice, and unity among African and Afro diasporic communities. And Deuba organized a series of Pan African Congresses starting in 1919, bringing together African and African diaspora to discuss colonial rule and racial injustice, calling for an end to imperialism and for African nations' independence.